Hey, welcome to Bishop's Garage. This is Bishop. My yard is my garage. Today I'm going to be working a little bit on our 1974 bay window bus, Jerry. So I finally got my motor back. There was a wiper motor. There was a mix-up at the place, and somebody got sick, and somebody had an operation, and my heart goes out to them. But I finally got it back after a while. So I've got it sitting in the bus now, as you can see, there. And let's look to see what goes into putting one of these back if you have no idea where the wiring goes. Hey there. As you can tell, our wiring is a little bit taken apart, slightly sketchy here in Jerry. Oh, by the way, that's a pretty good smell. I really like that. Okay, so here's our fixed windshield wiper motor. It has a plastic cam on the inside that was cracked, so whenever it would try to run, it would just slip the gear. So that's been fixed. So now we have this in place. You will also see that the windshield wipers themselves are standing at attention, and that's because that is the park position. So I'm trying to do this with the dash off. Here's the wiring that I was presented with when I took this apart. We have the two electrical wires for the motor. Those are common. Red is high, green is low, and those get power. And there's a ground wire down here. Let's see, there's a ground wire down here. And those get their power from the switch, which is right here. That switch comes out at these wires here. It's got this main centerpiece, which has two feeds coming into it. Both are black with a gray stripe. The other feeds we got coming out is a black with a yellow, a solid black, and a solid green. Now I went back through the Volkswagen wiring diagram and I found out that the black with the yellow, you can see here, goes to the red, which I've rewired, and that goes to the red up here. The solid black goes to the green, which is the lower speed, and that of course goes back here to the green. What I was left with was a conundrum, because those are not the original colors of wire. Somebody has boogered on a solid blue and a solid white. So one is for park and the other is for constant power, and I simply just had to guess. And after one fuse, I guessed right. The terminal that's closer to the motor here is the one that you will that you see is white up here, if you follow me. I kept the white. That goes to your solid green. That is part of your park. The blue, in this case, here, is getting a constant power up here. So, blue is this one that's farthest away. So if you wire your farthest away, regardless of color, into the switch loom, this one that's got the double feed coming into it, you're good. Then on the inboard one here, wire that one to your solid green. Because really, this should have been a solid green right here. And then this one should have been black with a gray stripe. But I'm not OCD enough to go back and, which I have wiring of that kind, to fix those properly. Since this truly is just fixed the way it should be and not for aesthetics, no one's going to see it. I don't care. So I had posed this question up on the web a couple of different times. I didn't get a response, so I just figured, well, either I'm going to risk a 5-cent fuse or it's going to work. So risk the 5-cent fuse once. And it's working now. So our next issue, now that this is all solid, is that this is what it believes park is in. Since these are all now wired properly, the park works with our switch. So what I need to do is I'll need to undo the axle nut on the motor, bring these down, and then just tighten it back up, and we should be good. Hey, let's take our 10. Should be able to loosen it enough so we don't have to take the arm all the way off. Nope, we're going to have to take the arm all the way off. Well, it is parked right now, so I guess this would be the perfect time to adjust them the way I want them to be. Alright, there we go. Put our nut back on. Because I don't want to do this with the dash in here. I have seen the nightmarish attempts. All right, shall we test it? If you don't have a lot of moisture on the windows, it's not a good idea to run them as it puts a lot of strain on the motor. But we're going to just do this real quick. Call it good. And it parks. We have low. We have high. And then park. Voila. I think we've got our wires wired up properly now. Everything works good. We can park. We can go low and high. And there's just a last minute shot of how I've wired those. My blue and white on the right here are not the correct colors. The white should actually be well, I'll try to put those down in the comments. The solid green here is the one that goes to the to the white up here, so maybe that one should be a solid green, but then that might get confused with the motor's green, so maybe it's a black and green. You know, I really don't know. I'm just making stuff up now. All right, so we have a constant power from here. Battery off, battery on, or key off, key on. This is hot. Not sure what that plugs into. To double check my disassembly. Okay. Well, I have the wires marked out for what I need for the radio. Before I put the dash in, that's probably good. This little tiny wire back here is a ground when the ignition key turns on. Alright, in working on this, I didn't actually get a lot of footage for the install of the dash itself, but I do want to talk a little bit about it. The dash does have about 8 screws along the top. It also bolts into the steering wheel column with 2 bolts there. When installing the dashboard, make sure that the emergency brake there, the handle you see in the middle of the screen, is on the inside of the dash and not the outside. Hence, I had to take it out and put it all back in again. You'll also notice here that underneath the dash, I do not have, well, maybe you can see it, I do not have the venting connected for the defrost or for the fresh air. That will come later. I found some plastic pieces that were just rolling around in the back of the van, and the original owner who took this apart had taken that out and just tossed it in the back of the van, and of course I didn't see any of that until I put the dash in. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing here, but we're going to be starting putting the switches back in. That is one heavy duty switch. It's missing well, let's see if we can't get in there and see what this looks like up close. Alright, well, this is a relay. Wow, is that a resistor in there actually? I should clean this thing off. looks like it goes here. I guess in retrospect, I should review the video that I took of disassembling this. Do some dash mods. With assembling the dash, take your time. I've come across a couple of things. You may have even noticed that my hazards and the rear window defroster are in switch spots. That's the switches are in the right spot. It's just the cap that goes on the switch. I'm not going to show any of the footage of the dash going in because you've already experienced the dash coming out. Just make sure you take a lot of pictures. Video helps as well. Document all of your connections, and then when you put it back together, just put it back in the same way. Well, putting in the ashtray or the cigar tray, that's what I'm doing here. You'll see next to that, though, I've kind of widened out the cigarette lighter location, and that's actually going to be a USB 3 fast charge port, since that's a little bit more modern and quite useful. Well, you may not be able to see that through here, but turn the light switch next. You'll also see me here. I'm working on pulling the old wires out, getting prepped, ready for my dash to go in. Just kind of looking at the numbers, placements, making sure that I've got grounds, that my old wires are tucked up underneath, that my new wires for the radio are prepped, ready to go, and this hopefully will turn out just fine. Thanks for dropping by the garage today. If you liked what you saw, click subscribe, hit a like, put a comment down below, something useful, something not useful, something funny. I just want to thank y'all for coming by, and I hope you enjoy what you're seeing. Let me know if you want to see more. See you next time.
wall rush by the time John is back.
This competition is always so dangerous, not only because it's like cutting wood, because you have to do
I think you are. This one's a sharp axe, I guess.
where it's more pro